I've read that one of the greatest fears all people have is this possibility of going to prison. I know that I never thought I would be going to prison when I was a young kid, but it didn't matter what I thought. What mattered is what I did. What did I do? I made bad decisions that put me in the crosshairs of law enforcement. And because I made those bad decisions, in my case, it was trafficking in cocaine, authorities started an investigation and it led to a criminal prosecution and it led me to being charged with a very serious drug offense, which resulted in me serving a year in solitary confinement. It wasn't until after I got out of solitary confinement that I learned the strategies that would help me overcome and get through the journey in prison with my dignity intact and with opportunities to prosper. I founded prisonprofessors.org with one goal: helping as many people prepare themselves for success at every stage in the journey. And all those lessons are predicated from what I learned while I was in solitary confinement and what I learned in going through 9,500 days in prison. But none of the information on prisonprofessors.org is really relevant to me anymore. I was released from prison in August of 2013, and since then, it's almost become like a ministry for me to try and help as many people as I possibly can prepare for success. And that includes you. If you're a visitor of Prison Professor's YouTube channel or any of our social media sites, you are probably facing some kind of challenge with the criminal justice system, or you have a family or loved one who is going through that challenge. If that's the case, make sure that you use all of the resources that we make available, because they're all free. I don't charge anybody anything to access them or to use them. I do this because I genuinely believe in it. I'm never going to lie to you, and I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I didn't do. But what are you going to do to position yourself for the best possible outcome, regardless of what stage you're in? See, we reach about 1 million people in jails and prisons across America through our various collaborations, and we offer everything for free. Unfortunately, many people don't get that information until they're much further along in the journey. And although it's never too early and never too late to start sowing seeds for a better outcome, the reality is that the sooner you start, the better position you're going to be to build a body of work that you could use to self-advocate. And that's more important now than ever. In yesterday's video, I spoke about this new memorandum that the Bureau of Prisons put out where they're trying to maximize the use of home confinement. But just because the bureaucracy is doing that, that doesn't absolve you of making yourself the best possible candidate. And if you don't know how to do that, make sure you look through our website. We are now launching an initiative to develop better relationships with defense attorneys, because defense attorneys typically start working with somebody at the very earliest stages. They start working with people as soon as they learn that they're a target of an investigation. And that is the time to begin building a self-advocacy campaign. That is the time to start thinking about, well, how am I going to define myself? How am I going to show what I've learned from this experience? How am I going to convince people who are very cynical to see me as something other than the criminal charge? The sooner you start introspecting on those kinds of questions, the more effectively you're going to be at engineering a pathway you could use to move yourself down the road toward more success. You know, Seth Godin, the author of a book called The Purple Cow, said, every person has to become a marketing agent for themselves. In that book, the analogy is that if you're driving down the road and you cross a pasture and you see a pasture filled with cows, you're probably not going to spend too much time looking at those cows. But if you saw a purple cow, you would probably pause and look. When you're going into the prison system, nothing matters. You're just a cow. That's the way the system will see you. They won't care how successful you were in the past. They won't care what challenges you face. They won't care that you didn't have any intentions of breaking the law. They don't care how you see yourself. To them, you're somebody whom a federal judge said, I sentence you to this amount of time to custody of the Attorney General. Your job is to not be a cow, but to be a purple cow. Your job is to begin thinking about what you can do. And the sooner that happens, the better off you're going to be. That's why we're reaching out to defense attorneys and trying to build relationships so that they can introduce prisonprofessors.org to people as soon as they find out they're a target of an investigation. The sooner you start preparing, the better position you are going to be to work towards an earlier release date. And that means we want to reach you before you plead guilty, before you have a pre-sentence investigation report, before you get sentenced, before you surrender to prison. We want you to have a plan while you're in prison. We want you to build a body of work that will advance you as a candidate for home confinement at as soon as possible time. We want you to make sure you understand what are you doing today to ensure you've got a higher level of liberty in the weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. And the sooner you learn how to develop that type of self-advocacy campaign, the sooner you're going to start restoring confidence and get back towards being the person that you're really supposed to be. A law-abiding, contributing citizen who is living to your fullest potential in society, not in a prison. I was in prison for 26 years. You don't want to be there for that length of time, but it doesn't matter what you want. What matters is what you do. That is certainly a lesson I learned while going through my journey. And it's one I have built a commitment and a ministry around sharing those stories with as many people as possible. So please use our resources. If you're following us on social, that's awesome. If you're not, please subscribe to us wherever you get your content. We produce new digital content every single day, and you'll notice that there's always a lesson. For example, let me share with you today's lesson, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So if I share this lesson here, this was from today, June 21st, 2025. I really wrote this project so that I could help build those relationships with more defense attorneys so that they could share it with their people as soon as those people come in. But notice that there's a lot of self-directed questions. What happens if I go to prison? What should I be doing right now? How can I help myself if this doesn't go my way? Those are prompts for you to begin thinking about what you can do. And then look at the end. There are these things here called self-directed questions, right? That we want you to be thinking about. Where are they? Oh, shoot, they're not on this particular version. Let me go to another one. So I just offer those questions there at the top, but let's go to a different blog. Notice I write these every single day, right? Because I'm never going to ask you to do something I didn't do. So here's today's. This one I've got to film a different video on, so there'll be some information here. But this is the way that I am always trying to build collaborations. And this is what I mean when I say there are different self-directed questions. Who in your life could help support your preparation if they had the right tools? Like, think about that and then give an answer, because that answer will become an asset to you. And all the more powerful if you're publishing it on Prison Professor's Talent, where you could build your own profile for free. What actions can you take today to begin documenting your self-advocacy journey? If you're not asking that question and meditating on that question, you're probably not going to put the type of resource together that you could really use to build your life. So I want you to be thinking about these questions. How would a platform like Talent, prisonprofessorstalent.com, have helped you at the start of your case? What's one value you want to demonstrate in your transformation story? How can you use your time today to invest in your future success, right? If you start asking those kinds of questions of yourself today and meditating on them, it's going to prompt you to start writing about it, right? I could answer those questions very easily because it's totally real for me, right? It didn't only help me get through 26 years in prison, it's helped me earn millions of dollars since I got out of prison. But it's not about me, it's about you. What are you doing today to overcome the complications you're going through? That's what Prison Professor stands to do, is to help people understand nobody should work harder than you to build a pathway to success. And we want you to use our resources because they're free. And I'm never going to lie to you, and I did it myself, and the proof is what I am doing, right? If you could find anybody else who will do all this work for free, well, that's awesome. But I've never found anybody, right? Because in order to do it for free, you have to have been successful. That's what Prison Professors teaches you how to do. Get success at every stage of the journey, and don't expect anybody else to work as hard as you for your liberty. Please follow us on social. My name is Michael Santos. I'm the founder of Prison Professors, and I believe in you. So be cool.